Hey, what's going on? This is Troy, and this is the Planet 76 podcast, your source for Sixers news, highlights, hot takes, and more. Welcome to the show. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Planet 76. My name's Troy. That, I'm pointing to my left, I think you're usually on the left on the video, is Michael. Michael, what's up?
What's going on, man? Got a nice episode coming up next right here. Let's go.
That's for sure. Our season preview as the Sixers take the court for some NBA action. Regular season tipping off on Wednesday. We're recording here on Sunday the 17th, episode 21, the Joel Embiid episode, as I like to call it,
Yes.
as of right now. But yeah, we're going to roll. We're going to talk all things Sixers extensively throughout the season, what we're thinking is going to happen, some predictions, some thoughts, some keys to a successful year for the Sixers, some thoughts on the opening week and the couple matchups that they have. So why don't you go ahead and just what do we have coming this week for the Sixers? What are those first few matchups?
So, as Troy mentioned, season preview episode, we're going to be diving into a little bit of the Sixers as they begin their season on Wednesday, October 20th, which is in about 3 days. And we're going to talk about, obviously, game against Pelicans, home opener against Brooklyn, which is going to be insane for a lot of reasons. And we're just going to do a little bit of quick little thoughts on that, our expectation, not really expectations, but our, just some thoughts that we have entering the season, some things we'd like to see, some things to keep an eye on. So that's how we're going to break it down. And we got some extra stuff in this episode, too. So we're going to see how we do with that. We're going to roll with that.
It's going to be good. Yeah.
Yep.
So those first couple games, New Orleans and Brooklyn, and then they're back on the road for two more against the Thunder and the Knicks. So 3 of the first 4 are on the road. We'll see how that all shakes out here in just a few days. I'm excited for Sixers basketball. I know you guys listening or watching are as well, and we get to kind of just preview the season. This is going to be a fun episode. It really is. So stick around through its entirety. It's going to be good just to give some thoughts on all things Sixers. There will also be a second episode, if we're going to call it that, really just the piggyback on this one. So if you're listening to this one, this will be Sixers regular season preview part 1. The next one will be part 2, where we kind of just talk about NBA predictions of standings, some award-winning predictions and that kind of thing, and how the Sixers can kind of fit into that, of course, with the standings and that sort of thing. But for this one, we're going to start by breaking down the 10-man rotation that the Sixers are looking to have, and given our projections there. No, we did decide that number 25 will not be a part of these predictions, whatever you want to call it. They did say they went to practice today. We're not going to read into any of that today. We're just going to go with what we think about these guys. So I think we're going to go back and forth here, Michael and I. We'll kind of piggyback off each other. So I'm going to let Michael lead it off. We're going to go right through the starting lineup. And give me Tyrese Maxey. What are we thinking from him?
Tyrese Maxey. And yeah, I mean, we decided no number 25. There's just too much. We don't even know what he's going to be doing. So it's just It's a toss-up. So we decided not to include him. And like Troy said, we're going to just roll with it. Everyone else that we know is for sure going to be in the rotation. So Tyrese Maxey. Now, we did talk about Tyrese Maxey a few episodes ago, and that was under the assumption that Mr. You-Know-Who wasn't going to play. However, it seems that may not be the case.
Right.
So we might see a bit of a dip in our predictions for Tyrese Maxey. In terms of points, somewhere maybe in the low teens, maybe 11, 12, I would say. At that point, maybe a couple assists, a couple of rebounds, maybe 3-4 assists per game, maybe 2 or 3 rebounds. I would say probably pretty similar numbers to last season, just probably a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, I think efficiency will be key for Tyrese. I do like in limited time, he averaged 8-9 last year, and so I do like the reach of get him in the low teens, 13, 14, 15. Dare I say that'd be a beautiful thing. Again, it is going to largely depend on who else is in the backcourt with him, who's he sharing time with. But if it is the 10 guys that we are breaking down today, I have no issue saying that Tyrese can get 14 or so. just given where else we're going to go. 3, 4, 5 assists would be beautiful. Next one in the starting lineup, I'll take this one. You can give your thoughts too. Seth Curry, starting shooting guard. He shot 45% from 3 last year. I would love for him to stay there. No complaints about his shooting percentage. So that would be beautiful. And I like to think that his points per game could go up a little bit, as he gets just another year under his belt in Philadelphia. And I'm going to say 15 a game for Mr. Seth Curry. I think he was around 12, 13 last year. So 15, 3 boards, 3 assists, somewhere in there would be nice. And I think it's certainly attainable. I mean, if J.J. Redick, 33, 34, 35-year-old J.J. Redick can average 17 with the Sixers, Seth Curry can average 15. That's kind of what I did to get there. So
I think that's good. I think I think he did average something close to maybe 12 or maybe on the higher end 12 last season.
Yep.
So I definitely think 15 is within reach, especially because he'll be adjusted to this team now. He's had a year under his belt with the Sixers. He knows how his play style. He knows how to play with the other guys around him, especially Embiid. Could definitely see an uptick in his points per game. And again, nothing drastic, like you mentioned, 2 points, 14, 15 a game. I could definitely see that.
Right. All right, Mr. Green Ranger, Danny Green. What are we thinking for him?
3 rings.
Mr. 3
rings. Danny Green, I think he averaged around 10 per game, was it, this past season on one of the best percentages from the corner 3-point range. I think he was the league leader in 3-point percentage from the corners, I believe, something along those lines. But I'd have to expect similar numbers from him, maybe a little bit higher points per game. Maybe he'll convert on some more threes. I would say around 11 points per game, maybe the higher end of 11, give or take 11 and a half, I would say, around that area. Again on extremely high 3-point percentage because that's what he does. So.
Right. Yeah, you kind of got to expect it. I mean, a guy like that, we know what he does, and we pretty much. I mean, we can ballpark a range between 8.5 and 11.5 where he's going to land. It's almost a lock, it seems. So we'll see what Danny Green can do. He was over a steal a game last year. Would love to see that continue or go up to a steal and a half. Would be a beautiful thing for Danny Green. So look for him to continue to produce and hopefully continue to lead and make an impact on this team. Tobias Harris, I don't know off the top of my head his longest tenure with a team, but eventually it's going to be the Sixers if it's not yet. He bounced around a lot with the Clippers, with the Magic, with the Bucks, Pistons. But the Sixers were the team that really bought into him, and he'll tell you that all day long, especially with the max contract. So hopefully, just again another year under his belt. We know what he can do. We know he can score. He's been 16, 17, 18, 19 a game for a number of years. I personally would love to see that go up. And again, if these are the 10 men that are in the rotation for the Sixers, which again, we know that might not very well be true for the entire season. But if it is, I'm saying Tobias Harris, get me 21.5 a game.
Oh, man.
It's a lot.
I like that. I like it, though, because
if I told you
kind of going to be
21.
Oh, go ahead.
I lost you for a second.
Yeah, it's freezing up a little bit. Technical difficulties.
There we go. So if I told you Tobias Harris 21 or 20.8, would you say he's going to get over or under that?
I would love to see the over on that. I would absolutely love to see Tobias hit that 20 plus points per game, even 21. I mean, that would be amazing because, like you mentioned, I think he was just on the cusp of 20 a game this past season. I think he was 19.7, 19.8, something like that. Would love to see him become a 20 plus points per game scorer on obviously really good percentages. We know that he's able to do that. He He had an elite shooting season this past year, almost 50, 40, 90. So expect something similar again, and yeah, I would love to see that from Tobias.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Again, I think that 21.5 would be a career high for him.
Oh yeah.
And the year that he got traded here, the first half of that season with the Clippers, he was over 20. And then that year with us, he was like 16, 17 in games to average out about 18, 19, which is kind of where he's been. But if he could get back to 20.5, 21, where he was with the Clippers, that would be huge for us. And again, if he's in a bigger role, certainly don't see a reason why he can't. And you get Mr. Embiid.
Joel Embiid. He's for the past few seasons, I think he averaged 23, 2019. He averaged 20, I believe he averaged 28 in 2020, which was his past season. I'd like to see him average 29, even 30 this year. 30 may be a bit of a stretch, but I'd like to see him average anywhere from 28.5 to 29 a game. I think he can do it. I think he's approaching what will be his best season as of yet. I would love to see that anywhere from 28.5 to 29, even 30. That would be a great range for me to see from Joel Embiid. And obviously on good percentages. He's also a good free throw shooter. He's a very good three-point shooter, very good mid-range shooter, very good. He's a very good scorer from everywhere. So his percentages, we will see really good good scoring on very good percentages from him. So.
Yep. So full 82 game season. How many games do you predict Joel will play in?
That's as hard as all this prediction stuff is. That is even harder because that is even harder because there's just so much that goes into playing. When you're Joel Embiid, there's just so much that goes into playing a large sum of games, especially when the most games he's played, I think, has been 64, 65 games in a full season, mind you.
Right.
He played 53 this past year, but in a full 82-game season, 65 games has been his highest. So anything more than that to me is a win. However, I'd like to see him 68, 69 games maybe. But in terms of conditioning, that might not be the best idea, but I would love to see that just to be able to play and just to be able to be healthy and on the court, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, if you're not available, then you can't really do anything. Availability, which, yeah, I mean, in some respect, I can see it. So to all the people that say that, I would like to see Joel Embiid play and finally squash that, hopefully.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good answer. I think, to me, 68, 69, 70, like, you are thrilled with that. And
yes.
You're not so thrilled if it's under 60, if it's not near his career high, career best in terms of season, games played in the season. So, above 60, mid 60s is something we'll take. Upper 60s, we're thrilled. It's funny that you said, I forget exactly the wording you had in his points per game. You said he was about 28.5 last year. I'd like to see him get close to 30. Well, maybe not 30. And that's funny because the number I wrote down was 29.5. So, perfect. We'll take that. We'll take that. And I would love for Joel to, grab another board or two a game. He was 10 point
12,
something. Yeah, maybe
game.
12 a game. I remember the one year, I think he missed a lot of time. One last year, I don't think it was even the year before. Maybe 3 years ago, he averaged like 28 and 13 in a shortened, I don't know how many games he played that year, but
was it the bubble season?
I think it was the year before that, because this was even before he was like even MVP consideration.
With Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. Might have been that year. I mean, he had a phenomenal year, and he averaged 13 boards a game. He can do it. It'd be nice to see him do that. All right,
definitely.
To the bench. I'm going to give you that next guy, too, because he's your guy. Shake Milton. Lead us off.
So, in the notes, Troy has written, I guess, about Shake that. And this actually came out today, about how Doc Rivers said Shake is, quote-unquote, nowhere near playing. I'm not exactly sure what that means. There's probably some context behind that.
Mm.
So I don't know how much Shake is gonna play. I mean, he's still a really solid role player. I don't really know what kind of context is behind the quote. I did see it today. I saw, like, I'm not saying that this is fake or anything.
Right.
I did
think
see it.
He's got something going on
I'm just
injury wise, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we assume Shake is healthy and that he's gonna play.
Right.
I think he averaged 11 last season.
I think 13.
He averaged 13. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was off. I would like to see him average more than that. If he's the 6th, 7th man off the bench, I'd like to see him average 14 or 15 maybe. I think Tyrese is probably going to be the 6th man. But I would love to see Shake average similar numbers to last season on hopefully better shooting percentages,
Right.
but maybe a little higher uptick in points per game with pretty good assist numbers, pretty good rebound numbers. He's not a big assist guy or rebound guy. He's more of a score-first guard, which is fine. So with that being said, I'd like to see a little bit more efficient scoring season from Shake.
Right. Yeah, efficiency is the key for him, along with a lot of these guys. But with Shake especially, we know he's going to score to some degree, but how many shots is he going to take to get that? I like that. Low teens, kind of same thing as Tyrese Maxey, but we'll see what he can do in a probably a similar role to last year, but in some ways different. Again, depending on number 25 and what goes on, and when he's called to be a starter, and when he's called to be the 6th man. So we'll see what happens with Shake. He's going to be flexible this year. 4 more guys left. Again, this 10-man rotation that we decided was Matisse Thybulle. In addition to the 6 we just named, Matisse, Korkmaz, Niang, and Andre Drummond. So Matisse Thybulle was around like 3 or 4 a game last year.
Wow, he really averaged 4 points per game.
And he was, second team All-NBA defense?
Oh, my.
I would love for him to at least double that. So I'm going to say around 7, not 6, but 7. That would be great. Can he do it? I don't know. I'm going to say 7. Because I think he's going to get more minutes, and the steals those are going to go up because he averaged around 2 this year and 20 minutes a game. He gets 28 and 29 minutes a game. He might get 3 steals a game. He's amazing. So I'd love to him to be around 7. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, the problem with Matisse is that he doesn't shoot the ball a lot. And I think that if he did shoot the ball a lot, he would make more shots and score more points. He averaged 4 shots per game in 20 minutes this past season. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying he could probably shoot a little more. And I know it all depends on when he gets the ball. And when he does get the ball, he's mostly playing as a catch-and-shoot guy, which he should be because that's what we would like him to be. And obviously a dribble drive guy too. But I think taking more shots is going to be key for Matisse. And like you mentioned, in more minutes, I think he'll be able to do it, which will in turn allow him to score more points. So the issue for him is just literally taking shots and then making more shots.
Yeah. How much is he going to be involved in the offense is going to be the tell sign of if he gets 3 or 4 or if he gets 6 or 7 a game.
That's also a really great question.
Yep. All right, 3 left to go. Another key guy off the bench, Furkan Korkmaz.
Yes, Furkan. I believe, I'm going to check just to make sure, but I believe he averaged around 12 per game this past season. Oh, I was way off. 9 per game.
9.
What am I doing?
I looked earlier.
9 per game. I definitely like to see around 10. I definitely like to see double digits, 10, maybe 11. I think this season is going to be Furkan's best season yet. And obviously, I think we talked about it on the show before, but he improves very subtly every season. He improves very small improvements in his game every season.
Yep.
So I think this is going to be his best season yet. I would like to see him shoot the ball a little more. He only averages 3 attempts per game. And he is a role player. Again, it's still hard for guys who don't get a ton of minutes to shoot the ball as much as we might like them to. But I would definitely like to see him convert more on some shots. He shot 7 per game this past season, won 9 points. Yeah, he could definitely make more shots. 7 attempts total. he could definitely make more of those shots. So the
What was
issue
he
for
from
Furkan is the
three this
opposite of
year?
Matisse.
Do you see
He
a percentage
was
from three this year?
38%, which is great.
Yep.
He shot 40 in
Let's hit
2020. So I would definitely like to see him hit that 40 mark again, and that would definitely increase his points per game. Definitely.
Yep.
So around double digits,
hit that
I'd say
40
10 or
mark.
11.
Hit that 40 mark and get to double digits, Ferk. We would love to see that.
Yeah.
And you're right. He's been a steadily
Love it.
improving guy. Georges Niang is next, newly acquired from the Utah Jazz, or free agent wise, but look for him to be around what he did in Utah, and I'd be happy. I think you would too, as he's his name is not Mike Scott, and so we are good to go with Georges Niang and what he can bring to the table. In Utah, I think he was around 7 a game, a few boards. He was over 40% or around 40% from three. That's another guy off the bench who can shoot the ball, which is what we need, and so that's what I'm saying for him, about 7 a game. Hopefully around that 40% mark.
Yeah, I would love to see Niang hit that 7 per game mark, maybe even 8, 9. Maintain that steady percentage from three, from 40 upwards of 40% for Niang would be great. That's what he does. So I would love to see him, and I'm really interested to see the kind of contributions he's going to make to the offense, because I like Niang. I like the signing a lot. I didn't really know a ton about him when he got signed here, but I mean, quick search of his stats, watch a little bit of his game, and I was sold on him. So I'm really looking forward to this guy and seeing what he can do for us.
Yep, well said. I think too, his game kind of different from backup 3-4s we've had. He's more involved in the offense, I would say, than like just a catch and shoot kind of guy. He's got I'm not saying he's Kyrie Irving, but he's got a little bit of a handle enough to move the ball around a little bit. You can go to him in different spots on the floor, and he can create.
Right.
That's kind of what he was known for in college, and so hopefully he can do some of that here in Philadelphia, give a little new look off the bench. Last but not least, I'm very, very curious to yours on this, because I'm willing to bet that mine are higher than yours. Okay. So we'll see. Andre Drummond, points and rebounds. What do you got?
So I'm gonna use last season as a pretty solid reference as to what we can expect from him. I would say around 10 points per game, 11 points per game, close, if not on the nose of double-digit rebounds. He averaged 10.2 last season, when he was with the Lakers.
I think last season might have been.
So he's
right. How many minutes a game with the Lakers?
25
because
per
that plays
game
a factor.
I do not think he's. You know what? I didn't think of that. He's not going to play that many minutes when he's with the Sixers. He might play half of that. I would think he'll play maybe half of that, because the Lakers, AD played the power forwards position. He didn't play center. So I think with Joel Embiid playing center and Andre Drummond being a backup center, I think he'll play half of that. I think with that being said, my predictions might go down a little bit, because I did not take that into consideration.
Okay. So the things I took into consideration, and if yours are going down, then mine probably are a little higher. The things I took into consideration were, 1, his minutes are going to be reduced, yes, and then 2, let me look at Dwight Howard and see what he did with us and how many minutes did he play. And after I did that, I ended up coming to the conclusion that Andre Drummond is going to give us 9 points, 9 rebounds a game.
That's perfect.
And that would be more than Dwight Howard did.
That's perfect.
I saw something, there was some tweet yesterday or the day before that said, it might have been a GM or a coach or somebody like with respect around the NBA, Andre Drummond, like he gives you the stats, but they're just empty. AKA Andre Drummond, like he can drop 20 and 20 and not have any impact on the game. That was the quote. I was like, okay, we'll see.
It's funny because before the Sixers have Andre Drummond, I'm on TikTok. I make NBA videos on TikTok, and I made a video just slandering Andre Drummond, being like,
I gotta see that.
If you think he's good, you're a casual. He puts up empty stats. He contributes nothing.
You said that?
I did in like April or maybe May. So I hope that video gets erased.
Do you still have that video?
Because
do you still have it?
You could. It's up there. You can find it.
All right.
If you search
We're gonna
my
no.
username,
We're gonna
might
do
come
it
up
one
under
better.
Videos.
We're gonna do it one better. You're gonna send that to me, and I'm gonna put it in the episode so we can listen to it.
All right.
We got homework. You're gonna hear that clip right now.
If you're someone who has told me that Andre Drummond is a good basketball player because he's good at rebounding, this post is for you because you're a casual. You're a casual. Everything that I've been saying about Andre Drummond is right here in this post.
I like totally. I don't even know what to say.
That's gonna be awesome.
Like I had no idea that Drummond was going to be on the Sixers, obviously, and I definitely don't think he's amazing, but
right.
He'll like I've said in the past, he'll get the job done. He'll be pretty good. I mean,
He's an empty
he'll be
stats
alright.
guy. I'm so ready to throw that in here. It's gonna be awesome. Anyway, we'll move on to our next segment with the Sixers, and this one is different from like stat predictions. This one's gonna be a little more, I don't want to say out there, but just like a goal that we have for individual players, maybe a team goal, and maybe an individual player goal that's going to help us reach said team goal. So I wrote down a few. I only wrote related to 3 different players: Tobias, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid. Just a couple goals for each of those guys. But I'll let you start. Like, what do you have just as, again, if it's far-fetched, if it's realistic, whatever it is, what's a player goal that you have for somebody on the Sixers?
So I'm just going to go off of... I actually made a couple posts about this. I think you had mentioned, you could probably just use the ones you made on Trust and Love.
Yep.
So I made a few posts on this regarding Matisse, Joel, and Tobias. And I'm just going to start with Matisse. One of the goals I had for him was shoot, I believe... What did I put? 35% from 3? 38% from 3, I believe? 37? Scratch that. I have another one. I forget what I actually said. Matisse Thybulle goal to make all defensive first team. Now he made second team this past season, obviously playing 20 minutes per game. So with an uptick in minutes, who knows? I think first team is very possible.
Yep.
Very possible.
Agreed. I think that's a good one for Matisse. I'll give a couple I had here for Tobias. One that I'm sure we both have, along with a lot of other Sixers fans, is for Tobias to be an all-star this year.
Yes, that's one I have as well.
That'd be a big one. And not this might be being a little too critical. Tobias shot around 39% from 3 last year. Let's just get over 40. Get him that 50-40-90 thing. That'd be very cool. And again, he was relatively close. I think he was a little lower on free throws as well, but that would be a good one. And even as I said earlier, Tobias to average 21 plus. That's a goal. That's not a too lofty of a goal, but I don't think it's too short because he hasn't done that yet. So that's my thing with Tobias Harris.
It's funny that you mentioned about 40% being a little bit too critical, because I agree that it's not, because that's what I have as well. Shoot 40% from 3, and like we were mentioning earlier, average 20 plus points per game. It's funny how things come full circle like that. And all-star selection. That's what I have as well.
All right. I lost you there for a second. Who you got? What else you got?
Oh, I was just saying about Tobias. About how you mentioned that you might think it is too critical to want Tobias to shoot 40% from 3, and he shot 39. And I just mentioned how I had the exact same thing, so that I agree with you that it's not too critical. Because I have it on mine as well, and for Tobias to become an all-star. So
40 is better than 39.
yes.
Just facts.
Yes, it is.
You know what? I'm gonna go with a big one here. Let's just do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You good? Joel Embiid win the Most Valuable Player award.
Yeah.
How's that? How's that for a player goal?
For me, one of mine as well was win MVP or Defensive Player of the Year. If he wins either, I'm totally fine with that. I think, again, that will go along with the fact that this could be Joel's best season to date, and taking home a piece of hardware would just add to that. So I think that's a very reasonable goal to want him to achieve this season.
Why not? I mean, yeah, if we're talking about goals for players and you come in second, I think the goal is to get first that next year. So,
yes.
Again, we're not all about the player awards here, but that would be a cool one for Joel to be the first guy in a Sixers uniform since this guy right here on my shirt, Allen Iverson. That would be cool. So, Joel, go get that MVP. Prove that you are the man, because you are on this team. Couple things for Maxey weren't related to stats necessarily, but I said three players: Tobias, Tyrese, Joel, and now Tyrese Maxey. One, prove that you can be the point guard on a good team in the NBA. Whatever that looks like is up for determination from coaches.
I was just gonna say that
players around the league. Prove it.
I was just gonna say that could come in many forms, but in any form that he can make it happen with, that's fine by me. Fine by me.
There you go. I got one more, unless you got something.
Okay. No, all good. Go ahead.
You got one? I got one more.
Okay, you're good. Yeah.
All right. So this one is a team goal. Transitioning from player goals. This one's a team goal. And I'm just going to say it. So there's an explanation with it. So my team goal is for this team to have home court advantage in the second round. Which I think we know what that means. That means that would be to finish ahead of the Bucks or the Nets. Again, clarification, that's a goal. That is not a prediction. That's like this team should have a goal. Okay, we've finished as number one seed last year. Everybody is having those teams ahead of us, and I think it's valid to have those two teams ahead of the Sixers. But, hey, we're not going to set a goal to make the playoffs. We're not going to set a goal, I don't even think, to host the first round. Yes, we want to do that, but with this team, that should be an expectation. Now, we're going to get to the standings in the next episode, which can be a little log jammed, and it's going to be interesting even to hear your take on that. But I think a goal, man. The Nets are having issues. The Bucks are the Bucks. They're both very good. It's going to be difficult to do that, but see if we can get. Again, that's going to be a 1 or 2 seed. Lofty goal, lofty expectation, but we got Joel Embiid. That's my reasoning for why they could set that as a goal.
Yeah, really, and like you mentioned, not a prediction, just something that we would like to see the Sixers achieve this season, because it'll be tough. It'll be really tough for them to do something like that, but all the more reason to set your goals high, especially if you're the Sixers.
Yep. For sure. All right, so that's it for player goals, player stat predictions, all that sort of thing. And again, in that next episode, we're going to preview just wide NBA standings predictions and how the Sixers are going to fit into that. But first, we're just going to real quickly preview the first couple games for the Sixers. Preview of opening week, the opener with the New Orleans Pelicans on Wednesday, and the home opener. I'll be glued to my TV for this one, Friday night in the Wells Fargo Center against the Brooklyn Nets. So, how are you feeling? What's the vibe? What do we need to watch for in these games? No Zion Williamson. Looks like Shake's not going to play in either of these two games. And, you're going to be glued to your TV. What are we looking for?
So, for their season opener in New Orleans, like you mentioned, Zion's not playing. He's a huge part of their offensive game and a huge part of their team in general, obviously. I think Wednesday could be, I don't want to jinx anything, but I think Wednesday could be a win. I think the Sixers just play their game. They're going to be a little rusty probably, especially considering the circumstances that are currently going on in this city. But I think think they're going to be good. I think Wednesday is going to be a nice little opening, get their legs underneath them, and hopefully Friday head home for the home opener versus the Brooklyn Nets and just win. That's going to be two powerhouse Eastern Conference teams going at it. Obviously the Nets without Kyrie, but they're still a phenomenal team. So I think Wednesday is just play their game and just come out and see what happens.
Right. Yeah. And to no one's surprise, the guy I am watching in this opening week is Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that kid play. You want to talk about getting their legs under him? That kid's legs are under him, I guarantee it. He's going to be the fastest one out there. He's going to be
ready.
Moving up and down. He's ready. Exactly.
He's ready.
So I'm very, very excited to watch him play. I think he's key, especially if, again, we don't know if number 25 is playing. No one knows if he's playing.
Nobody knows.
And it's annoying, and it's a mess. I don't know if you saw Tobias, what he said today about it.
I did.
I forget the exact quote.
It was a great response.
Someone gave him a stupid question, basically like what was it like having Ben back today?
It was Howard asking from WIP.
Okay, and what was his response?
He basically asked Tobias, what did you say to Simmons about he's back? How was it having him here today? Tobias basically said, I'm not going to tell you that, man. He basically said, he didn't say, but more or less, we're a team. That's private. We want to just move on. We want to get to the season. And like I've been saying, this team looks ready. Without Simmons or not, they look ready to play. And I think that answer that Tobias gave kind of had a overarching message of, listen, we're ready. I don't care about your questions. We're ready for the season. We want to play.
Right. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. And obviously we can't really, it's not like we're going to have, with the opening week, we're not going to say, oh, he needs to improve. He needs to do this. This is a fresh start, a clean slate. Next week episode, we'll be able to say, okay, Maxey's 1 for 15 from 3. Like, he needs to improve that. So, we're just giving little tiny things to watch for in this first couple games, and there'll certainly be more to break down once we have some games under our belt. Be watching for Maxey. Be watching for Embiid. Obviously, everybody's curious as to how he's going to look. Maybe we'll see some of that 5 out, 4 out around Joel Embiid shooters lineup featured this first week. And another thing just to be curious about is just the rotations, I think, to watch for and see who's in when, who's the first guy off the bench, who's when's Joel sitting, what kind of lineups are going to be featured with Andre Drummond and whoever else. How's he going to be utilized? There's all sorts of things to watch for, and we don't know how to break it down yet because it hasn't happened yet. So, anything else Sixers season preview-wise before we jump into part 2?
No, really, that was it. Just very excited for this team, finally ready for the season. It's here. Couldn't have come at a better time, honestly. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And you're ready, obviously. Followers are ready, fans are ready, we're all ready. So really looking forward to it and just very excited. Very excited.
Let's go Sixers. Planet 76. Be sure to continue to tune in with us for all things Sixers, news, breakdowns of games, predictions, hot takes, all that fun stuff. We're still going to be producing, at least on a weekly basis, episodes to break down games, to preview games, to talk injuries, to talk news, and to talk about our Philadelphia 76ers. So that'll be all here, Planet 76, throughout the regular season. Be sure to join us and be sure to catch part 2 of this episode 21. They're both going to be episode 21, just put two different
part A, part
feels
B.
there. So, part 1, part 2, part A, part B. Tune in to this next part 2. You just listened to an episode of the Planet 76 podcast. Hey, we appreciate you joining us for this episode. Whatever platform you're on, why don't you hit that subscribe button for us, and we'll see you next time.